Welcome to another FPL climber video. This one, we're just a week before the Premier League starts. So I thought a video where just some tips and some graphs and infographics that I've found, which could help you pick your team for game week 1. So various sources I've found these that I've just grabbed, and you may want to pause the video and screen grab, and it's in no particular order. So first one is the projected points for game week 1 to 3. Usual suspects there you would find, so Haaland, Bruno at the top, and everyone else is in there that you I think most people are going to have a good number of these players in. This is from FPL Labs. He's got lots of useful these sort of things on his Twitter, so check that out. Next one is FPL Meerkat, just showing he does a predictive lineups for every game week, and this just shows his accuracy on predicting teams, whether he gets 11 out of 11 picked in perfect, or he's got a few, so you can see who's he good at. He's good at picking best, probably Everton, and he's not so good at picking Wolves and City. Obviously Wolves doesn't matter this season, but and City were the Pep roulette, which is always tricky to predict who's going to play. Obviously Pep's not City manager now, so it may be easy to predict. We'll see. So you can have a look in there how accurate he was. I think towards the start of the season it is a little easier, and as the season goes, sort of maybe a touch harder. And obviously the final game week, it's a bit of a lottery. The next one, this is from FPL Labs as well. It's the picking of which 6 million forward do you go for. Is Calvert-Lewin, Igor, Jesus, or Robbie are sort of the top 3 everyone's sort of considering if you're going for the 6 million forward. And you can see, looking at these sort of key sort of stats, expected goals, points per 90, bonus, and minutes played, DCL is top 4 for most of them, apart from is not the best on expected assists per 90 and also conversion. So there we go. The next one is also FPL Labs. It's just showing pre-season form, how much you take from pre-season. It doesn't, someone or a team that has a brilliant pre-season doesn't necessarily mean they'll have a brilliant actual Premier League season. But you'd rather to have a player in, or players from a certain team who are performing well, winning games, etc. Looking at this, this was taken on the 11th of August, so 2-3 days ago. So that I don't think it's changed at all of anything. But looking at this, João Pedro is having a great pre-season, 6 goals and assists. Semenyo, 5 assists. Arsenal Zolis has got a goal and 4 assists, and he could be a good one to get into your Arsenal team. Could end up being a differential. So have a look at that. Pause and screenshot if you want. The next one is just showing defenders who have hit 4+ points the most. This, their hit rate, how many times they've done it, and difference whether at home or away, and break down on their price. So obviously, if you, as expected, this Gabriel is the top of there, and Nick O'Reilly and Gay right up there. But then there's potential, you can't afford a team full of 6+ million defenders all in your team. Will be tough anyway, but this could be useful. This is from FPL_Tom Hadley. So on his Twitter, he's got some other useful stuff. So that's another account worth checking out. The next one is just having a look at the best and the worst sort of fixture runs in the first half of the season for game week 1 to 19. Just shows the run where it's got the best, based on sort of the fixture ticker and what you would expect, the best 5 game weeks and the worst 5 game weeks. So you can sort of have a look on and see whether, when the fixtures turn for a particular team, and then you maybe want to transfer out all those players or some of the players, and when teams have a good run. So having a quick look, United have a good start to the season, and towards the end of the first half of the season, it's not so good. So have a look at that. Pause and screenshot. The next one is about set pieces. I think there's a stat, there we go. The stat, 27% of all Premier League goals last season were from non-penalty set pieces, the second highest in the Premier League history, and was 20% the previous season. So a lot of goals from corners, all-time high, like on free kicks and so on. Maybe a big part of that was Arsenal. Everyone was saying how they scored loads from corners, and I think certain teams sort of did the same sort of thing. So having a look at that and who's taking the set pieces for different teams, and where there could be some potential bargains or in there. Looking at here, this is from Solio, which is another great FPL source, showing all the different players who take the corners from the various sides, and the free kicks and the penalties. Obviously, this isn't sort of set in stone. Things could change. For example, I think the pre-season game the other day when United played Leeds, usually Bruno would have taken, I think it was a corner from the left, and that would have usually be Bruno, but Tielemans took it, and obviously Tielemans is a new player to United, so we'll find out once the season starts. Lots of teams have got new players, and some players may have taken over set piece for set piece duty for their club. So we'll see, but I think certain things, you could be pretty certain, such as like Bruno's going to be first on penalty for United, although he missed the other day. Haaland's going to be taking the penalties for City. So yeah, there we go. And the next one is just having a look. This is for the whole of the season. Sort of the season long sort of goals and assists, who's statistically based on odds and all that sort of stuff. And this is from Solio as well. Who's set to get the most attacking returns to goals and assists. And this is similar to that other graph that I had before, but so it's Bruno at top, Haaland at the top, then Bruno. So that might be useful information. And then this is just a quick screenshot, just showing from Ben Crellin, who's sort of the FPL sort of wizard, if that's the right word, for predicting, when friend teams are having double game weeks, blanks, and all that sort of stuff. So having a look at this just shows a whole season overview. Obviously, things will probably change as you go on, but it might be useful, and it just shows also when the international breaks are early on, and then that sometimes is a popular time when people play the wild card, because they've got more time to have a think about it. They've had 4 weeks, the first international break is after 4 weeks, I think, or 5 weeks, sorry. So that's potentially enough time to work out who's who's a good player for FPL, who's not so good, who you need to get rid of. And then the second international break is after game week 10. So a decent chunk into the season. Maybe you maybe you need to play the wildcard before then. Hopefully, your season goes so well that your team is just brilliant and you don't really need to change anything. But I think for most players, they will need to have an early-ish wildcard. I certainly tend to do an early wildcard. It's usually game week top 4, 5, 6 sort of time. So there we go. The next thing is just another thing from FPL_Tom Hadley. This is the DEFCON defenders. So the defensive contribution from blocks and interceptions and so on. Blocks, interceptions and tackles. There's one other thing I think, but yeah, it shows who's almost certain to, who gets DEFCON and how often. So Senesi was really good, but he has changed clubs, so we'll see how that works out. So I'll look at that, and then looking at the players who tend to sort of get, even if they just get one return, so one goal or one assist, and they end up getting the bonus points. There's certain players who end up doing that. So looking at this, João Pedro is 89% of the time. Ampadu is 100% of the time. So there's certain players who they just get one return, and then you end up getting the bonus. So some extra points. So that's good. And then that's it. So anyway, that's a quickish sort of video. Hopefully some useful information there. Some take some screenshots of some of these information, and hopefully it'll help your team, which you've got now a week to finalise. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you could like, comment, subscribe, that'd be great.